Lately, the central bank has been rejigging its monetary policies around the foreign exchange controls as well as the debt management and recovery strategies across the banking industry. And that's all in a bid to stimulate the economy and also reduce the pressures of the COVID-19 pandemic on Africa's economic powerhouse. Although analysts seem to be divided on the objectives of these monetary policies, the considerations of the banking community and other financial services leads to or is yet to be heard. And joining us now to bear his mind on these developments and other matters arising across the financial services sector is the president of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Mr. Bayo Olugbemi. He's joining us via telephone. Mr. Olugbemi, thank you for joining us on the program. Good morning. Now let's have your assessment of the state of the banking industry today, considering the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on the half-year performance of the banks.
Sorry, can you please come again?
I was asking for your assessment of the state of the banking industry, considering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the half-year performance of the banks.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, the COVID-19 pandemic caught everybody by surprise. However, the fact that most of our banking institutions had always been on, they've done a lot of work on online services, digitization and the rest of them, it makes it very easy for them to adjust. So I won't say we were that badly affected. Yes, we were affected as the banking industry was affected too. However, because of the fact that we have what I call adjustment mechanism and the fact that we have gone digital over the years, made it very easy for us to adjust to the realities of COVID-19. And also, some of the palliatives and the incentives given by CBN to the real sector through the banking industry, that is the MSME funding, the health sector funding, that comes at 5%, 9%, which is a single digit, has also gone a long way to actually help the banking industry to stay afloat and to be able to serve their public.
Well, having said that, Mr. Olugbemi, a greater part of the first half of the year was characterized by CRR debits. Apart from the statutory debits, what do you make of such headwinds?
I think what CBN is trying to do is to stimulate the economy and, in a way, encouraging, if I may use that word, the banks to lend to the real sector, the agri sector, the real sector, the manufacturing, and the rest of them. So if they are unable to meet the threshold, that was the reason for the CRR. But I believe in the long run, everybody will be better for it. The economy, the industrialists, the manufacturers, those in the agri sector, and everyone at the end of the day. Yes, it may be very tough for the bank and the bank and the bankers in the first place, but by the time they adjust to the reality and they begin to lend, of course, you are not lending free of charge. There are incomes that also come to you as a banker.
Well, recently, the CBN also reviewed the minimum interest rate on savings deposits to 10% of MPR, and that move was very recently described as price fixing. Is that what it is, actually?
I think the purpose for that is to also reduce the lending rate. Yes, for the banking public, those who have money in savings account and the rest, it may not be very good for them because it means they are getting lower interest rate. But then, if you look at the flip side, with the reduction in the interest in the savings rate or savings deposit rate, to also bring about reduction in the lending rate to consumers. So I think it's in the best interest of the economy.
And now that the CBN has commenced sale of foreign exchange across the different wholesale and retail windows, at what rate do you see the dollar to the naira?
Difficult to call, but I think we started seeing the impact, especially in the parallel market. the price is coming down. But I do not pinpoint the rate at which the naira will settle. I can't. It's difficult to call.
But are you optimistic that the exchange rate regime will eventually see some unifications as demanded by the multilateral financial institutions?
I believe so.
Okay, so speaking of a review of the Banking and Other Financial Institutions Act, that's the BOFIA, how significant is the review of that document for the financial market?
You call it review. It's still under review. Yes, it's been submitted to the National Assembly, and the copy I saw that we as CIBN also had input in, I think to a large extent we addressed some of the shortcomings that was discovered in the current BOFIA.
But are you of the opinion that the review aims to confer immunity on the governor of the central bank like what obtains for state governors?
I don't think so. Immunity? How? How do you mean?
No,
it's just to strengthen the CBN to do much more than they are doing now, not any immunity per se.
Okay, let's talk about the role of the CIBN now in the banking industry as it relates to capacity building. What form of support are you offering?
As CIBN, our major reason for existing is to train and retrain and make sure that our members are skilled and they work as professionals. Over the years, we have a flagship certificate called the ACIB. But much more than that, from time to time, we hold knowledge sessions whereby we share experiences and we bring a lot of people from all over the world and in different sectors to come and talk to our people. But recently, we also reviewed our syllabus to be of international standard with any other institutes in the financial space. For example, the CFA, the Institute of Bankers all over the world. And we didn't just do it in-house. We brought in PwC to assist us in getting the syllabus reviewed. So our current syllabus is can stand side by side with the syllabus of all other institutes within not only Africa but all over the world. So with that, we hope that our members will be properly skilled, and of course we have introduced other subjects like digitization, like green banking, like public sector accounting, like MDGs, that's development goals, SDGs, and sustainable development goals. So, or what we call sustainable banking. So we have introduced a lot of standalone certifications, and even in our flagship and our training to ensuring that our members are up to date in their professional calling.
All right, so how well are you engaging with the monetary and fiscal authorities to ensure that there is an enabling environment for investments, of course, which will bring about sustainable development in the country?
Okay, as CIBN, we engage with our stakeholders like CBN, like the Ministry of Finance, and of course the banking industry and the economy in general through our various knowledge events that's organized by the CIBN Financial Center for Financial Studies, CFS. And we organize breakfast sessions and roundtable discussions on topical and emerging issues in the industry. In fact, in 2020, the CIBN has just launched what we call CIBN Advocacy Dialogue Series, which speaks to such issues and is typical of topical and emerging issues are discussed. And of course, we believe that the banking community will be better for it. And we have heard 3 of that, even during this lockdown, using the virtual platform to do that. And we continue also to conduct research projects on relevant issues with findings and recommendations detailed in a policy paper, which is also widely disseminated. And of course, our conference that is coming up, as usual, after the end of the conference with different speakers from all over the world, we will come out with a communique that will be sent not only to the CBN and the policymakers, but also to the entire world, because we publish them in widely read newspapers and other journals all over the world.
President of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Mr. Bayo Olugbemi, thank you for speaking with us this morning.